And welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about something that God has been convicting me of and kind of challenging me to work on more, as much as I don't really like to. And this is just my problem with being still. Like, it's just very, very hard for me to be in one place at one time, fully, completely commit myself to that. In some ways I'm good at that, like I'm okay with awkward silences. I'm good at just like chilling there doing my own thing. And I don't care if there's an awkward silence for a while, because it's just normal and it happens to everybody. And I only feel awkward if the other person starts feeling awkward, which they usually do. But so I'm good with that, like just sitting and being still. But for example, listening to podcasts or listening to an audiobook or calling my friend, like I feel the need to be doing something with my hands, even if it's literally as unproductive as playing solitaire. That is what I do. Way too much. And that just makes me feel like I'm getting something done. And I'm not really good about just keeping myself available, I guess, and being open to whatever is to come. And I notice that a lot in my quiet time. You know, people talk about how good it is to like be still with God. And I've heard that a lot. And I realized recently I don't really know how to do that. Like, it's so hard for me to just sit there and be with Him, because I know I'm just gonna get so distracted so easily, or I just feel like He's not gonna respond. There's not gonna be anything from Him that I'm gonna hear, so I'm just gonna be sitting there thinking my own thoughts, and it was a waste of time. Instead of, oh, I can spend this time, journaling, or I can read my Bible. But as soon as I'm done with those things that like I can do, I don't like to just sit there, and I don't like to just make myself available. It really stresses me out for things just to be quiet. I was driving somewhere and I couldn't get my Bluetooth to connect. I didn't want to listen to the radio, and I was like, well, I just can't listen to anything. And I'm just kind of sitting here in silence. I'm like, God, did you do this for a reason? Like, what do you want from me? It's really uncomfortable to just sit here and just be available. And, I notice this all the time. Like, people have so much trouble with silence and just need noise and need something going on all the time. Short attention span, and people who literally cannot be comfortable anywhere with nothing to do. It's like as soon as you sit down in the doctor's office, instead of like blinking around or talking to someone, it's like, oh, pull out my phone. We're not content to just be still and be quiet. And that's very sad, because that's a very important spiritual discipline that I don't have. And I'm praying about what to do about that. I have so much of this fear of silence, of being still. And I think God showed me that the reason for that is I don't expect Him to show up for me. I expect to have to put in all of this work, do it all myself, like writing in my journal or like reading my Bible and like putting in this effort to pray. But it's so hard for me to just be still and be intentional and listen for what God might be saying to me, and just be content to like be there with Him and share my thoughts with Him, even if what I'm thinking is completely random. I want to be able to build that relationship, but it's so hard because I feel like the moment I stop doing and stop thinking and stop making noise, and I'm faced with the stillness and the quietness, I'm gonna find myself alone. And that's terrifying. And I don't want to be in that uncomfortable position of waiting for someone when you don't think that they're going to show up. And as long as I can do something and like be something, then that'll keep me from having to feel that way. Like listening to worship music, even as I journal, just in case the thoughts that God's putting into my head aren't powerful enough, or like I'm not hearing from Him in the way that I need to be, like filling out my mind as full as I can get it with all these things to try to draw close to Him, but never really leaving room for Him Himself, because I'm afraid that He's not going to be there, or He's not going to show up for me. And if I make myself still and available, He won't have anything to say to me. And I don't know why that's such a big fear. I don't know why it's so hard for me, but I think that God helped me realize that that really is the reason, which it's one thing to realize it. It's another thing to learn through experience that that's not true. There are some things you have to take on faith, but there are a lot of things that God like tangibly wants to walk us through to get rid of our fear and to show us that it's okay. And so it's not like by realizing, oh, I'm thinking that, but oh, I know that that's not true. I know that God's always with me. I know that He's talking to me. I know He wants a relationship with me, that that's going to fix it. I think I have to put in the hard effort of being still and waiting and letting Him show up for me, and letting Him heal that fear through experience. Not just telling me, oh, that's okay, you don't have to be scared of that, because that really doesn't make it better. So now, the next step, I guess, is the hard part of asking Him how He wants to heal me from that, and how He wants to show me that He is a God who will show up for me and come through for me and meet with me and talk to me, showing me what it looks like to be still with Him and quiet with Him, and what that's supposed to be. Like, I don't even know what expectations I should have for what that's supposed to do for my relationship with God. Like, maybe eventually you start, like, I don't know, spontaneously having these really cool conversations with God and hearing his voice more deeply and like feeling all this peace and whatever kind of something. Or maybe it's just growing more and more content with sharing, you know, the random thoughts and being like, okay, I'm being still with you, God. And then find yourself thinking about totally random things, but like inviting his presence into that and just sharing yourself with him, even when that feels so unimportant. So I just really don't know what to expect. But I guess that's something that God has for me, and that's something that I'm gonna try to step into and figure out and face that fear. Maybe this can be a challenge for other people to put in that effort to be still and quiet before the Lord, and I guess we'll see what happens. I guess we'll see what he does through that, and that small, deep part of me that's so scared of that, I really want to see him healing that and showing me that it's okay, that he loves me, and that he's right there with me always, no matter what. Yeah, I guess that's all my random thoughts on that. Thank you for watching, and goodbye until more interesting things happen.